Thank you for listening to SPN, the Savage Podcasting Network.
Since its opening in 2015, Faro Restaurant has been one of Idleworld's leading restaurants, applauded for both its gracious service and casual take on fine dining. Nestled in the heart of the beautiful alpine village of Idlewild, California, Faro is more than just great food and elegant surroundings. It's a treasure destination not to be missed. Faro Restaurant, an official sponsor of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema. It's Italian, elevated.
It's cool, it's hip, and it's where Idlewild goes for burgers, fries, sub sandwiches, ice cream, and more. Atomic Cow, downtown Idlewild, California. Official sponsor of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema. Fast, fierce, and filmmaker friendly. Be there or be square. Atomic Cow.
You're listening to The Stephen Savage Show on the Savage Podcasting Network. And now, here's your host, film and television director, Stephen Savage.
Thank you, Nicole. How you doing, everybody? Savage here with you for a special Golden Archive episode of The Stephen Savage Show, the official podcast of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema, podcasting as usual from Cranium Wheels Studios at Chateau Esteban in the beautiful alpine village of Idlewild, California, just a couple hours east of Los Angeles, but a world away at nearly 6,000 feet high atop majestic Mount San Jacinto and overlooking the great Coachella Valley. And as always, today's episode is brought to you by our official lodging sponsor, Tahquitz Pines Retreat, Idlewild's premier venue for weddings, family reunions, romantic getaways, and just about any large or small gathering or event. So if you're coming to Idlewild for the film festival or at any time during the year, you owe it to yourself to check out the many charming cabins and cottages that make up this amazing mountain venue. Check them out today and book your Idlewild Film Festival lodging at tahquitz.com. That's TAHQUITZ, Tahquitz Pines Retreat at tahquitzpines.com. All right, so I've decided to close out the 2025 season by replaying an in-studio interview I did with my pal, the great actor Kevin Gage. Kevin came up in the summer of 2024 to talk about one of his, not only about his great career, but also about some of the amazing actors and directors he's worked with over the years. Kevin is always fun to talk to him. I'm proud to call him my friend, and I was honored when he agreed to come on the show. And I'm replaying the interview now for those new listeners just acquainting themselves with the show, and for our longtime friends who might have just missed it. It's a really fun interview. And just a quick note: if bad language isn't for you, this might not be your episode. Kevin was just talking to a good friend here, and so he and I were just bantering back and forth, so he wasn't thinking about watching his language or anything, and I guess neither was I. So I decided not to edit or bleep a single word of it. So without further ado, here's my interview with Kevin Gage from the summer of 2024. Enjoy. My guest today is one of Hollywood's most durable and hardworking actors, a man whose body of work is nothing short of remarkable, with roles in such big-budget blockbusters as Ridley Scott's G.I. Jane, where he starred alongside Demi Moore and Viggo Mortensen, the Nick Cage epic ConAir, one of my favorite sort of drug movies, Blow, where he went head-to-head with Johnny Depp, and perhaps his biggest hit film, the Michael Mann thriller Heat, where he starred alongside Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Val Kilmer, among others, in that all-star cast. That film also starred another good friend of mine, Oscar winner Wes Studi. But his most important work, of course, was the film that launched my career, the cult hit Cosmic Radio, where I had the privilege of directing him in my first bigger cast film and having lots of laughs together during that shoot. His list of roles in some of the most amazing films of the past 25 years is much too steep a climb to cover fully in a format such as this podcast. But to suffice it to say, he's the real deal, and I'm proud to call him a friend for, nearly 2 decades now. And to announce that he'll be appearing in my upcoming crime drama feature, Monkey Grip, which goes into production in a few months. And if all goes as planned, I'll have the honor of directing him in a second feature film, which I can't really talk about now, but I'm looking forward to what's in store with this guy on board in the near future. So without further ado, let me welcome into the studio Mr. Kevin Gage. Kevin, thanks for making the trip up to Idlewild into the studio, my friend. It's great to see you. It's been a while.
Way cool to see you, and even way cooler to hear you talk about me. You make me sound so much more important than I am.
Well, that's an opinion, my friend. Yeah, it's. We just, Kevin and I just had breakfast at the Kettle in downtown Idlewild, and so if we sound a little lazy, it's because we both had pretty big breakfasts.
Biscuits and gravy,
Biscuits
baby.
And gravy,
Oh, I
that's
miss
right.
it.
You know, I like to kick off all of my interviews by, well, let's just say I'll beg your indulgence and ask that you sort of run through to my listeners your career origins, you know, where you're from originally, your education, and how you first found yourself bitten by the acting bug. So if you don't mind just kind of giving us a Kevin Gage rundown, that would be great.
Kevin Gage rundown. Boy. I will keep it simple. Born in Illinois, raised in Wisconsin on a dairy farm. Started moving around on my own after about age 14. Mm-hmm. Ended up in Florida, got in a little trouble, and thought furthest place from Florida was California, so I hitchhiked out to California in 1977. Nice. And drove trucks, sold flowers on the freeway, and what else was I doing back then? Just any little jobs. And back in those days, they had an American bartending school, mm-hmm. and I was thinking, you know, you had to be 21 to 10 bar, but I thought if I just learned to 10 bar and go apply for a job, who's going to question it?
Right.
And back then, they didn't. So I learned to 10 bar at American bartending school and went to the Troubadour in Hollywood, mm-hmm. and they hired me to be a bartender, which led to many other bartending jobs. And then I was working at the Black Whale in the marina. I was actually 21 years old and legal then. And it was a great restaurant, prime rib and king crab legs. But I was tandem barred. I noticed an elderly couple looking at me from the corner table, and your first thought in Los Angeles is, what kind of sexual weird shit are they? What are they looking at me for? Turns out it was an agent, and she gave me her card, right, and asked if I'd ever thought about being an actor. And all my bar regulars laughed, and I was like, well, to hell with you guys. Why not? So she invited me into her agency and gave me a monologue to read, which was about a pissed off young man. And long story short is, she said, do whatever you want. And I memorized the monologue, went back into her office, and at some point in the monologue, the angry character, I just went fucking nutty on her, flipped her desk and started throwing shit around, and she stopped me. She says, hey. And so she thought I had potential, and she pointed out she pointed out Milton Katselis acting class. Uh-huh. So I went to check that out, and to be perfectly honest with you, I opened the doors and everything was slow motion and surreal. It's a big acting class, but anywhere from 75 to 100 students. And on the stage, when I opened the door, this beautiful woman and some guy were doing something, and he was all over. And then I looked up in the audience there before. I was just monitoring the class, mm-hmm. to see if I was interested in that kind of thing. But there were so many beautiful women. Right. So that's really what got my attention. And then I joined the class and found that on the stage I was very, very comfortable. After a while, the beginning of anything, you're kind of nervous about things. But my teachers and peers were always telling me how talented I was. So my confidence was good, and I just started having fun. And I found myself, I kind of felt like I was on a football field back when I was a kid, or a basketball court. I liked I liked the attention from the audience, and So that's how I got into it, and the rest of it has been, rejection after rejection after rejection. Then, oh, you want me to do this little thing? Then more rejection,
Right.
and then Heat, that put me on the map.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2.5 months and 10 meetings to get that job.
Right.
So
well worth it, man. Well worth it.
Absolutely, man. That whole film to this day is well, I don't think you can compare it to anything, especially back in that day with that star-studded cast, and
Right.
Michael Mann, and it was a magical time in my life, and I was very comfortable on that set also because I worked for that job. With all that star power and such
Sure.
a big, huge studio film, you'd think people would be a little nervous, but 10 weeks to get the job, 10 meetings, beat out. I walked on there maybe a little too confident. But anyway, that's how I got into show business. And
Right.
Since Heat, offers started coming in, and I pretty much work when I want. And
Yeah, see, that's the good thing. That a kind of movie like Heat is a career builder where everything else should fall in line, And I think you did your best to keep yourself out of too many of the Hollywood trappings. You see people who start off like that with a bang, and then their career takes some kind of weird turn, and usually it's personal. And years later, decades later, people go, "What happened to that guy?" And that didn't happen to you, so I'm glad about that.
I don't know. Yeah, it didn't happen to me, but I don't think most people these days, if you say Kevin Gage, nobody knows who the hell I am. If you Google my ass, by the way, am I allowed to? Do I need to monitor my language because I naturally?
No, you say what you want to say.
Oh, fucking goddamn! I was going to do the old George Carlin shit, piss, fuck, suck, whatever he says.
Nah.
Anyway, I naturally do. Have a potty mouth, for lack of a better term. So, but what
yeah, we're just talking about. I like to give. I have a lot of my listeners. Are first-time filmmakers and a lot of new actors, young actors, and I just like them to understand that everybody goes through tough times when they start, and it's worth it when you get that one good break, and pretty soon you find yourself, you're getting a lot of work, and that's what we're all here for, right?
Yeah.
It's all about creating, and you and I at breakfast were talking about. We're in the business of telling stories, and that's what we're all about,
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Been going on for a long time.
You mentioned Michael Mann, and you've worked with not only some of the greatest actors around in your career, but also some of the most phenomenal directors. The aforementioned Michael Mann, of course, Ted Demi, the one and only Ridley Scott. That's a feather in your cap. Just the best of the best. What do you attribute the fact that so many legendary directors, after that you got that Heat thing, and do you think it was just your screen presence and what you've been able to pull off in character roles? Why do you think so many legendary directors have been drawn to pulling you into these amazing films? And are there any directors whom you admire that you might like to work with in the future?
Well, Ridley Scott, he hired me before Heat had come out.
Right.
So,
wow.
In fact, I had 3 meetings in one day, and so I didn't really prepare because it was just too much. I was just like, I'm just going to go in and wing it. Anyway, about 6 months after my meeting, my manager had called, and she says, "Hey, Ridley Scott wants you to work with Demi Moore and G.I. Jane." And I'm like, G.I. Jane? What's that? She said, "You read for this." And I was like, "Oh." So, I talked to Ridley, and but it was before I'd gotten Heat. So
wow.
I guess I got that job because he, like Michael Mann, thought I was really right for the part.
Right.
After that, you mentioned Ted Demi. Ted was he had seen my work in Heat, and he was a big fan, and he just called and offered me the job in Blow. So, I love them. Both of those guys were really fun and special for me to work with. Ridley gave me the green light to go ahead and ad lib whatever I wanted. I'd mentioned I play a Navy SEAL instructor, and I didn't have a lot of dialogue in the script. It just was mostly action, I was talking to Ridley. I said, these guys, they don't only physically kick their asses, but they're mentally up their ass. So anything specific that I can or should say? And he says, no, Mike, if you can think of something to say, you go ahead and say it.
Born out of creativity and desire, the Peak Restaurant and Bar at Tahquitz Pines is a must-see experience for anyone visiting the beautiful alpine village of Idlewild, California. Featuring a mix of local and international cuisine, the Peak Restaurant and Bar is the centerpiece of the Tahquitz Resort. Set amid gorgeous mountain surroundings and miles of hiking trails, the Peak is unlike any other eatery around. And as an official sponsor of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema, the Peak is home of the event's famous Filmmakers Village every year. The Peak Restaurant at Tahquitz Pines Retreat. Come dine with us.
Every small town has that one special spot, a place where strangers become friends and friends share great times together. Idlewild, California has just that spot, Terrence Place Pub and Gallery, where live music and good company create amazing memories. We feature fine wines along with international and domestic tap beers. Our vibe is welcoming, fun, and eclectic. Terrence Place Pub and Gallery is proud to be an official sponsor of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema. Come and experience the alpine charm of Terrence Place, located in a village lane in downtown Idlewild, California. We invite you to stop by and have a great time.
Idlewild isn't just a scenic mountain town, it's a living gallery. The Art Alliance of Idlewild supports local artists, funds youth art programs, and hosts world-class events that turn our town into an art lover's destination. Become a member, attend an event, or donate to support the arts. Follow us on Instagram at Art Alliance of Idlewild, or visit artinidlewild.org and be part of our creative community.
And we had, we had Navy SEAL guys on set too for reality to tell us all what are they called?
The continuity, the realty.
The reality of what they do.
Did I just say realty? The reality.
Yeah, you did say realty. Because of the nice piece of realty you're sitting on here. Beautiful.
You took up a lot of real estate on screen. That says a lot for you.
Yeah. And I've lost my track again.
We were just talking about Ted Demi.
Ridley Scott actually. I'll wrap that up. He gave me the okay to say whatever I wanted. So the team of Navy SEALs advisors, I'd asked them what kind of shit you guys said, and they all gave me way enough ammunition. So while we filmed it, 80% of the stuff you hear of the dialogue in that movie is just me improvising, and I had a blast doing it, and Ridley kept most of it, so obviously he liked it.
That's good. Technical advisors.
Thank
there we
you
go.
so much. Technical advisors.
We're filmmakers and we can't figure out the lingo.
So I can't take all of the credit. On any film, everything is a collaboration, but to have Ridley give me the green light to say what I want, and then all those Navy SEALs to give me those great lines.
Right.
That was good.
That's good stuff.
And then Ted just hired me, and he was such a fun guy to work with. And did you know Ted?
No, never met.
Yeah,
never met him.
You know, he passed, but he was the nicest man. I'll never forget. He had Family Day, where the family could come in and clack the clackers before we shoot.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen a smile so big and genuine as him watching family members run the clackers for slating.
Yeah, slating. Technical advisor slating.
Yeah.
We'll get it. We'll get it here.
But he was a great guy to work with, and I didn't have to do any improvisation because it was all written so well. And I think you mentioned right before we started one of your favorite movies. Blow is one of my all-time favorite films.
Yeah.
Not only that I've done, but my films, period. I can relate to that time, and I remember those days, and just the film and the soundtrack and the story, and
I directly relate that film to what we've seen in the last 10 years with the limited series, the Breaking Bads, the Better Call Sauls, the Ozark movies series. Directly a result of that movie. I think that was the way it was done, and a lot of the stuff that you did with Johnny Depp, you're playing an undercover cop, and it had that real secretly, the camera in the room that nobody, it had that documentary feel. Like it built up, your character was building up the tension because, we know Johnny Depp's going to get busted. It's like, why? It's a movie. Why am I feeling so like this is my stress levels in that movie? And
that's a good thing. That means it's a good movie. You're sucked into it, and you care about the characters and everything. And
yeah, that must have been fun. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things that people say about Johnny Depp, and he can be a little weird, but he's a great musician, and I just think you must have had a good time working with that.
I had a blast, and he was just very professional, nice guy, down to earth, and me when I'm working, I don't chatter a whole hell of a lot. We shoot our scenes. I go back to my trailer, out fucking with one of the grips or something.
Right, yeah.
But Johnny and I did. We obviously talked, and he's a great dude, and I'm a big fan of his work and talent. And
another good friend of mine, she did the movie Chocolat. She had a role in that, and she said it was just fun being around the guy. He was just a fun guy, and made everybody even more passionate about the job because he comes in with some passion.
Yeah,
so
it's funny. I never thought about that, but it was fun. But she said it well. It was fun to be around him. Mm-hmm. He was not only a talent and a big movie star, but he was just a normal dude. And he was fun to be around.
We're going to get to that in a minute because I got some questions to you about the normal dude thing in Hollywood. But you've been doing some screenwriting lately. Is that something you've always wanted to do, or is this a recent thing for you, or what?
I always thought it'd be cool to write a script. I'm not a writer. Mm-hmm. I'm potentially producing a thing called the Senate hearing, which a friend of mine and we got the script. I was working on a movie in Washington, and some guy gave me a script, and I gave it to my buddy Frank, and I said, "What do you think?" He said, "Well, if we add a beginning and an end and tweak it, there might be something there." And that is when I started getting into writing with him, and he was a writer, and I just fell in love with it because you're God.
Yeah.
you can make anything happen. Yeah. And but that was that. I am not a writer. I do not go home and have ideas and sit down and write and try to put them on paper.
Sure.
I let you guys do that. But the Senate hearing is still potentially in the works.
That's good.
Looking forward to it.
It's always fun to wear another hat. It just is, and learn a little more about. And I just want to tell our listeners, if you hear a little hum in the background, we're at 6,000 feet in the mountains, and it's January, and so I got a heater going because it's too cold not to have it going. Kevin came up, and he was about to freeze to death when he first got there. I
forgot you were at 5,000 feet. I told you I sweat in the shower, man, but I love the cold. But my hands were shaking during breakfast for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's getting a little chilly up here now. So if you hear that noise, that's what it is, and I'm not about to turn it off. So, we talked about some of the great directors you worked with, of course, just now. But what about, aside from Johnny Depp, the other actors? You've shared the screen with some of the biggest of the bigs. Who are some of the best people you've worked with? We just talked about Johnny Depp, and who have you had some of the best experiences working with some of the bigger name actors in your life?
Boy, tough question, because really the people you're talking about, they're such heavy hitters. Mm-hmm. There's only been a couple that I would
didn't enjoy.
Thank you. I was looking for the.
Yeah, we don't have to go there. No problem.
Well, this is your show. You can edit shit later, right? Yeah. So if I say dumb stuff,
it's always better the less editing we have to do.
But yeah, there's only been a couple of assholes in the hundreds of people that I've worked with. Mm-hmm. Actually, if you want to include the entire productions. It goes into thousands of people, but
Right.
Movie stars, actors, only been a couple that were just really unpleasant. Everybody else, they're just very professional and showed up to work, very humble, normal people just going to work.
Yeah.
And I loved being around them because I grew up watching their work, like Mr. De Niro.
Right.
When I got that job, it was fascinating working with him, just because I'd admired him for so long and still do. But nobody really special stands out as other than a couple of assholes. Everybody else, I guess I could pretty much sum it all up to say that, all of these people were just professional, friendly, punctual, giving, caring, eye contact, normal people, and when the camera was on, they were doing their thing and doing it well also. Every one of them. Demi Moore, I guess I could... I think about her a lot. She was a wonderful woman to work with, but on that movie, G.I. Jane, they had what they called the top 40, and those were the background guys doing all the Navy SEAL stuff with her. They didn't have dialogue. But as I recall, she went through this vigorous 2-week training period that Ridley had the actors and the top 40, the extras, go through. And I was very impressed with, very, very impressed with Demi Moore and her friendliness, her attitude towards work, her professionalism. But she made a move one day at the top 40, as they called them. They didn't eat with the actors.
Right.
They got different food and all this shit. And she... evidently told the production company, whatever, man, you need to feed them what we're getting here. These guys were busting their ass, and she was doing the same thing, doing 1-hour push-ups and running and getting her ass kicked. And this is just 2 weeks before principal photography. There was, she was just prepping, but blisters, and I just remembered thinking, wow, what a gal. She's bucking up. Me personally, I'm a player with people, but on that job, my character was not liked by the other guys, and I told Ridley, because I was watching them do all this stuff, and I actually did I was telling you earlier, I had a Jeep roll over me, and so I had some physical problems back then, and anyway, I told Ridley, I had multiple hip and pelvic fractures a couple years ago, so I don't need to do that because my character's not really liked. I think I should walk around these guys swinging my bat or whatever, so they don't like me. And he says, I agree, mate, if you don't want to do it. And I'm like, it's not that I don't want to, but it's that I don't want to. But Demi Moore, she stands out, I guess, as one of the more caring people that, she's... It was just a beautiful gesture.
Yeah, when you're working with people who are that dedicated to their craft, I mean, Sheena was not only in amazing shape, she shaved her damn head for the movie.
Yes, she did. Yeah, she wore that shaved head well, too.
Yeah, and whenever I've worked with actors who have that kind of passion, I just enjoy it, and people are surprised when they find out some of the actors I've kicked off my sets, and and it's just like... They're just not always nice people, but I agree with what you say is 99% of the people you work with in Hollywood are pretty good people. And you have a good time with it.
I guess they are. Do we really know anybody? And what
as
goes
long
on
as
behind?
they treat me with respect, the same respect I treat them.
Yes, and 99%, that's what I've gotten, respect. And
You've done this amazing hat trick that not everyone can pull off, but you've balanced a family life and your professional life pretty handily, I think. How would you advise actors who are considering building a family while also building a career in movies and TV? That's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, don't have kids. It's totally overrated. I'm kidding. Children, man, I don't even get me started. It's a love you can't buy and a frustration later in the teen years you can't get rid of.
Yeah.
But advice on people trying to juggle any kind of a career and family. I've turned I've turned down a lot of work over the last 18 years. My son just turned 18, and it was for that reason. I loved being with the boy, and didn't want to miss out on any of that. And I didn't need it financially, there were things that I did here and there, but no big productions. I would not commit to any series. Or anything like that, because I just didn't want to miss out on those baby years.
Right.
I didn't breed until I was 48, so I've already done everything I've wanted to do. And raising a little boy, I raised him on a beach in Mexico until he was 5. And then I ran out of money, and he needed to go to kindergarten, so we moved back to the States. But even here in the States, I turned down a lot of stuff and didn't attack my career too much just because of that. I wanted to be there for the boy.
Sure.
And I'm glad I did, but fuck him. He's 18 years old now, and
You're getting back to work.
I'm kidding. He's a wonderful kid, but he's still 18, and I don't know if you recall when you were 18, but I look at him and I realized, I was talking to him the other day, and I was telling him, you know what? If I could take a time machine back in time and talk to myself at 18 years old,
right.
You know what I'd say? And he asked me what, and I'd say, exactly what I've been telling you. You're such a loose cannon, man. Right. Try to be careful out there, and it's a different age. And anyway, back to the point: how do you balance a career and a family? Yeah. I guess I was lucky because of Heat that set my career in motion, and then some of the other bigger films. So I was known enough that I would get offers, and or the industry knew who I was.
Right.
So my career was kind of self-made, starting with Heat, and but if you don't,
the thing about luck. You use the Heat experience, and then I started watching movies that you did after that, and luck is like, how do you say it? Luck, I think, is just being prepared for opportunities.
Well said.
And
yes.
you didn't sit on your laurels from Heat. You kept bulldogging your way into your career. So yeah, there's a little bit of luck involved, but I'd say with your career, it's the arc you had and the movies you did subsequent to the Heat thing. Before and after, everything you did seemed to be well calculated to have a good career to put you where you were. And I've always thought of you as a movie actor more than a TV actor. Yeah. And a lot of people have to make that choice,
Yeah, back in the day, you did TV, they didn't want you for film, supposedly. I don't know. But that has all changed dramatically now,
it is,
obviously, yeah.
I still think it's the same with long-running series, because if you're on a series too long, I think you kind of kill your movie career. But these limited series that only last maybe 3-4 seasons, and they're set up to be that way, I think a lot of big film actors are finding that ability to keep a character going, but not so long that people just stereotype you into that. And but I've just enjoyed the characters you've created, like you say, G.I. Jane, the guy's an ass. And the fact is...
but not really. I mean, he is, but he's
at the end,
trying to save their life. And yes, in the end, with Demi Moore, I don't approve. And you see that with a nod of my head that, hey, man, don't be slapping around a woman.
Yeah.
So he really is not an asshole. He comes off like one, but he's just making
But that's
him
the
tough.
trick, and I think that's my point. You were able to take the character that the audience is really not digging, and then at the end there's an arc that we say, I understand that dude now, and that's cool.
He's human, and he's doing a job to help others stay alive.
I remember talking to Wes Studi about the movie Last of the Mohicans, that Michael Mann movie, and Wes was telling me that the Magua character that he played was really kind of, in the original story, one-dimensional. He was just a bad guy and no reason. And he talked to Michael Mann, and they decided we need a reason why he's such an asshole. I mean, why is Magua the way he is?
Right.
So they came up with that script where he's with the French general, and he tells them,
Oh, yeah.
they killed my family. My wife married another man because she thought I was dead, and so I'm going to kill everybody.
Now we know why he's going to.
And that affected my writing later because the Ramona, California's official state play. That play's been going on for 101, almost 102 years now. But in 2014, the producers of that play approached me. They wanted a screenwriter to do a revamp, bring it into the 21st century. And they knew I did westerns and things, and it's a period piece, takes place in California in 1850. And the main bad guy is a woman named Senora Moreno, and she's just I went to see the original play so that I could get a feel for it, and that's what I thought. She's one-dimensional, that character. She's just bad. So when we rewrote it, I got together with the actress who'd been playing her, and I said, why is she like this? Let's come up with a Magua-type backstory. And we wrote it. She pulled it off the first year to where people were going, oh, now we get it.
I don't know the show.
It's California's official state play. It's called Ramona, and it's based on an 1884 novel about the Americans take over California. Spain and Mexico end up handing over the deed to Mexico to the Americans, and it's just about the struggles of the Native Americans during that transition. And it was an interesting project. I'd never written a play before, but I had some great material to work with. But I brought that, what we were talking about, your character in G.I. Jane, how that arc to where you can start seeing what's really inside of a person, for better or for worse. But there's got to be a reason. And it's not just the writer, but there's got to be a reason why that character is a certain way. And I think you pulled it off as the actor, bringing us into you a little bit from beginning to end, to make us realize people have inner workings that we can't see.
Yeah.
And I think,
thanks for the compliment. And I have reading the script and going through the daily grind of shooting. At some point, I realized that that ending scene there is going to answer a lot of questions regarding Pyro, the character, and who I was and why I was the way I was. And I think we all pulled it off pretty well. When I say we all, I can't take credit for anything that I do. I got to give credit to the whole production, man. You just don't make a movie and do things by
but in
yourself.
the end, when on a level like that where you microcosm the arc of a character, then it comes down to the actor. And our job as filmmakers is to make sure we capture what that actor's bringing to the table.
Well said. You're right. I'm fucking great.
See, my introduction to you was not quite as bombastic as it should have been. Let's talk about working on bigger budget projects. And you've mostly done that in your career. I mean, face it, you've worked on some huge movies. But, looking at smaller independent films, you've done some of those too, and I think that comes down to the writing, which was my roundabout way of getting to the point. But how do you choose whether or not you take a role in a smaller project? Does it simply come down to the script, or what other factors drive your decision to do smaller indie projects?
Well, for me, me personally, yes, the script is always a first thing. But then as having a family, that's where you factor in that balance thing.
Sure.
But I have to identify with the script and the character and feel right for it. And I'm sorry, what was the actual question?
It's just how do you choose whether or not you're going to do a budget? It doesn't always come down to money for you, I've noticed.
No, it doesn't. It comes down to, do I like the script? Do I connect with the character? And is it a timeline that's good for me and my family at that point in time? The location where it's shooting, a lot of things factor in there. But yeah, it mostly comes down to the screenplay and my connection with the character. You don't have any control over, as an actor, over the finished product of a film.
Sure.
But I do have some control over how I come off in a film, whether it's good or bad. I pick things where I go, okay, even if the film doesn't come out great, I'm still going to get some respect.
Right.
I did a movie called Chaos, which wasn't. I'm not even going to get into it. But Roger Ebert, back in the day, he was a critic that said, "Yeah, I hated the film, loved the actor." And he was talking about me, Kevin Gage, and I did that show knowing it was a really low budget movie. But the character, I thought, you know what, I can pull this off, and maybe the movie be good or not, but I know I'll do my job well.
Yeah.
And the movie didn't do so well, but Roger Ebert, youngsters today don't know who that is, but he was the king of critics back in the day.
Right,
so for him to give me praise in the movie, not so much. Anyway, that's that. Yeah, it comes down to the script first and the character, but
I think that's not a bad way to go into that kind of situation, just like as I'm going to do my best job. It's like, I can't remember what famous singer it was, and he said, I go out even if it's just 3 people out there in a small club. I in my mind, I'm in Madison Square Garden, and those 3 people are going to walk away going, wow, what did we just watch? That's pretty amazing. So nothing wrong with that at all. And I'm really looking forward to working together again because, when we did Cosmic Radio, like I said, I was just not far out of film school.
I didn't even realize that at the time. I'd have never done that with you if I had known.
Well, I'm glad you didn't know. And I literally couldn't believe the cast that they gave me, the producers. It was an all-star cast, It was like, how does this happen? And
it was a well-written film. It was, I can see how you got. I mean, that's how you got my attention.
Yeah. Well, it was funny that the film was so. The producers, I don't think, knew what to do with it. They knew that they liked the idea of the story, but they didn't know what are we doing? Are we really, so who is this guy? But they pretty much went all out. But what was funny about that is not only was I able to get you for, I don't know, you were up 5-6 days that you shot, and I learned, wow, you can get some amazing talent and well-known people if you don't take too much of their time.
Yeah. That's a big one, man. It truly is. Yeah.
It's a big one. But guys showed up. I remember one night we were doing a lighting change, and the executive producer came up to me and he says, "Yeah, we've got Ricardo Chavira from Desperate Housewives. He said he'll come do the movie, so what are we going to put him?" And I'm like, so during the lighting change, I'm writing a character and scenes for this guy. And it's just like, this is going to be a 4-hour movie by the time I'm done. For some reason, guys like you and, people who are willing to look at a low-budget script because of the way it comes to them. And, I had so much fun with you on that set.
Likewise. It's been so long I can't remember the fun.
Right.
But I'm half kidding. I do remember we laughed a lot, and I really identified with the character. I really enjoyed playing him.
Hank, the tree guy, the tree cutter.
But we laughed a lot. I remember that. And I was telling your other buddy Steve when I was here, I forget what we were shooting, but my trailer was down the hill a quarter of a mile. It was 3 in the morning, and I was just up looking around. I said, "Well, I'll be back in my trailer." And somebody offered a van to take me back down. I'm like, no, I'm good. But they were serving second meal, and it was fried chicken, and it was goddamn like Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was really good, and I'm just munching on this chicken.
Was good.
Yeah, and I said, no, I'll walk back. And it was 3 in the morning. We're up here in Idlewild, where it's mountain lion country, and about halfway down that hill, I'm all by myself eating my fucking chicken, and I hear this cat sound, and I stopped. I look around. I'm like, really? I smell like chicken. I look like chicken. I'm just scared to death. This cat's going to pounce on me. And I hightailed it back to my trailer. So anyway.
We had some late nights on that, and I remember you and I about 1, 2 in the morning, and I wanted to add a little dimension to your character, and I wanted you to just be telling another lumberjack guy some jokes. And so we just wrote jokes for about a half an hour.
That's right.
And I said, can you remember them all? And you looked at the paper and went, yeah, I think I'm good. And you pulled them off. And I was just behind the camera trying not to laugh out loud. And the other actor who you were with, Jacob Teal. He was just a guy. He didn't really go too far in his career, but he was just fun. And he was laughing at you so hard that everyone on the crew was trying to keep from busting up to you telling the jokes and his laughter. He was about to fall out of that truck.
It was infectious. I recall. Yeah.
We had a good time on that film. And but I get to work with you again on this upcoming crime drama thriller, kind of a Tarantino-ish sort of thing called Monkey Grip that we're going to be working on very soon. And I'm really looking forward to that. And as I said earlier, there's another movie Kevin and I can't really talk about yet, but he's going to be looking at the script today. And to be able to work with you on back-to-back films, I think is going to be pretty fun. And
I'm loving it, Steve. Yeah. I'm loving it.
I just appreciate you, man. I just appreciate an actor of your caliber who likes my writing enough to go, yeah, I'll do it. How many you got?
Well, I appreciate hearing that. Well, back to kids. Yeah, I've been hearing nothing but "fuck you, Dad" for the last 5 years. Be nice to get back to who I really am, which is a cool, funny, happy man.
Right.
But yeah, I'm looking real forward to working with you. I loved Monkey Grip, the script, the character, and
it's going to be a fun
really
shoot.
Forward to McAllister. Yeah. And yeah, it's half the fun as I recall doing Cosmic Radio with you. Yeah, I'm in. It's not, for me, doing work isn't just about the work. I got to have fun while I'm doing it.
Yeah, so. That movie was tight. The budget was, it ended up at $3 million or something. But we managed to pull off something pretty nice, and it's a cute little film, and it's still, you can still catch it on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's gone a long ways. It's been released all over the world, and we did the Palm Springs. We premiered at the Palm Springs International Film Festival, but then we were invited to Sundance as a special screening film at Sundance. So I went there to see that, and the reason was because there were so many Native American actors in it, and through the Native American Film Studies program at the Sundance Institute, they invited the film in because it just depicted Native Americans in everyday life, waitresses and DJs and, a sheriff, things like that. And even though it wasn't in competition or anything, I just enjoyed that experience but I remember watching you on screen and having that laugh again every time you came on. Because as you said, how there are directors who will allow you just to ad-lib. I said, well, I've got Kevin Gage. It's like, if you've got Elvis, let him sing. And if you've got
really?
If you've got Kevin, just let. And I go. And you said, "Do you mind if I play around with the dialogue?" I go, "Dude, do what you want." After the writing jokes with you for a couple hours was, I just let you have it, and you brought this character that would have been much less. And that was the magic of that film. What you did, what you brought to that character, and I think it's like, this guy's a newer filmmaker. I'm going to throw him a bone, and I'm just going to make it memorable. And Ricardo, also the guy from Desperate Housewives, he was a big TV star at the time, and he did the same thing. He brought something to the table that elevated these tiny characters into big supporting memorable roles, and I think that's your trick, is you can make anything work.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I don't throw people bones, man.
Yeah, well, I think everybody liked me enough when they met me that they said, you know what, let's do something special here. What the hell do we got to lose? We're on top of a mountain. let's just have fun with it and make sure we don't get eaten by mountain lions.
And you are, and we're then a very likable human being.
Oh, thanks,
so
brother.
That's a big thing, you know. Nobody wants to hang around with dickheads.
Yeah. You know, I never get into politics on this show, and I'm not going to do it now, but we had talked earlier about where you and I feel Hollywood is headed. And I mean, it's become so politicized and diverted from simply making great films. But as we talked about, we just want to tell stories, you know. And have you found anything? Is there any fudge, or is there any time where you felt uncomfortable? You couldn't even feel you could be yourself through the COVID thing and whatever? Because I noticed it a lot that at Paramount, I was staff writing at Paramount, and I just felt I couldn't really be myself half the time. And I hope it feels like it's kind of changing. Who knows? I don't know. But to work in Hollywood, especially on some major films like you've done, you almost have to play this game, you know, and I just want to be myself. And I really appreciated when you said, hey, we're storytellers. Let's do that, you know. So I wondered if you're seeing any change, or do you think it's kind of normalizing back again, or what do you think?
Boy, well, it's definitely changed. There's no doubt about that, in a big way. Yeah, and I'm not sure how to articulate this back to you and your audience, but I guess the big change for me is how many people have the ability to make a film now.
Right.
With, you know, it used to be just, you know, Warner Brothers, Columbia Studios,
right,
Sony, Paramount, and now anybody anywhere can make a film.
Looking for great Mexican cuisine in Idlewild, California? Look no further than La Casita, Idlewild's #1 spot for authentic Mexican fare, serving up both traditional and north-of-the-border specialties. La Casita is also famous for its great beer and wine selection, and the best margaritas to be found anywhere. La Casita, an official sponsor of the Idlewild International Film Festival, and simply the best Mexican food around.
No small mountain village would be complete without its favorite local breakfast spot. And the Red Kettle restaurant in Idlewild, California is just that place. As Idlewild's premier downtown breakfast and lunch restaurant, the Red Kettle is exactly what you'd expect. Great food, friendly service, and quaint small town charm, the Red Kettle is the heart of Idlewild's village life. And as an official sponsor of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema, all festival badge wearers are treated to a 10% discount on every order. The Red Kettle restaurant, Idlewild, California. Home-style cooking all year round.
And
not always for the best.
No.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I still love old movies. I like some of the newer movies with special effects. You know, when we were talking earlier, the Indiana Jones thing. I love that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But a lot of films are made over the last few years, decade or two, that this technology's been around. That I don't know. I think they're being made to make money, as opposed to. I mean, back in the day, those films were also made to make money. But those big directors, they weren't doing it for money. It's a love and a passion,
right,
and that they have, and I think that's missing in a lot of films somewhere. That, or you know, the recipe just didn't work. But a lot of things made today, they don't capture your attention. They don't grab your heart the way some of the other things do. You don't get to know and understand characters. There are, like I said, I love underdog movies where people come out on top. So where it's going, I don't know. I don't know. There's always going to be those big, giant budget films that that do well, and then there's going to be the smaller budget ones where once in a while the magic all happens. But I don't know. That's a tough subject.
I find that working in Hollywood, like I said, working at, staff writing at bigger studios, you find there's so many younger filmmakers who don't have the vocabulary. And I tell them, Tarantino said it best. He said, you've got to know film history, because otherwise, how do you know who to steal from? And that's pretty much what it boils down to. And they talked about it way back in John Ford's day. He talked about all the great directors that he stole from. That's how he put it.
Well, I think everything is just it's a constant evolution, and you're fucking hamburgers, some guy's making a certain hamburger because he liked the other guy's hamburger. Musicians, songs are written because of the songs that they've heard. Movies, I think the same thing. You're stealing from other people.
If you don't know who to steal, just little things like they moved us at Paramount. They moved the staff writing team from Building 25, the old Desilu building. We were up on top of there. They moved us to the Valentino house, which was Coppola's office when he was doing the first two Godfathers, and he did The Conversation.
Nice.
And I was in seventh heaven. I knew all about it, and I go, can you guys believe this, where they're putting us? We're going to write in Coppola's office. And these 30-something people looked at me like I was nuts. And there was one younger woman writer who hadn't been there very long, and she came up to me and she goes, "Thank you for telling me that, man. I'm jazzed." And later she told me, months later, she said, "I've been looking into the history of this and that." And I went, okay, I touched one person with my geekiness, but yeah, if you don't know who to steal from, and speaking of the old actors, you're kind of a throwback. You, my buddy who I've talked to you about before, Angus McFadden, the tough guy actors, the Jeff Bridges, those kind of guys, and you fall into that category, and that's who I'm drawn to. Angus and I staggered we did a pub crawl in Edinburgh. We were together about 4 days in Edinburgh. We just drank every night.
I'm so glad I wasn't there.
Whiskey every night, and he's making fun of me because I was mixing all the whiskey with Coke. And he was hiding, like he was telling the bartenders, "Don't bring him any Coke. I'll kill you." And but those kind of the old, the John Hustons, the John Fords, the actors like Clark Gable, the tough guys, And I've always looked at you like that, and I realized how drawn I am to the old. I'm going to call them cowboy actors. It's not that you're playing a bunch of cowboys. I love
that term, and to be categorized like that, even to be said in the same sentence as Jeff Bridges, I'm totally honored, and I think that's a.
That's what I'm talking about will Hollywood come back around. That's what I'm hoping for, is that this hatred on masculinity kind of goes away and we can get back to making. And to be honest, there's some badass women characters that I'm really enjoying. They're right. They're throwbacks too to the Humphrey Bogarts, but just because they happen to be female, And I said, how realistic is that though? How these tough women cops who are out there. And then I saw, what's her name? Nome, the new Homeland Security lady. She's out there with the ICE guys, and she's like in a ball cap and a vest. And I'm going, Jesus Christ, these women really do exist, So it's not just men. There's just a toughness of characters that I'm really looking for. That I'm writing, of course, as you know. I'm writing a lot of those characters, but I'm also writing badass women characters. So it basically doesn't come down to sex. It comes down to what nowadays, what are we calling the hero journey or whatever, and I really want to get back to those kinds of films. So the best thing I can do is just make them.
That's it. Just make them, buddy.
That's right. If you want to see a good movie like that, make it. Make those kind of characters. So any projects you've got coming up besides working with me, which I'm thrilled with? Is there anything you can tell us about at the moment, or is everything pretty hush-hush or what?
Oh, God. I've got a couple of things, 4 or 5 things that are coming out. Or they might even already be out.
Yeah.
I've got an ADR session in a week from now for Escape from Blackwater, a movie I did in India. There's another one called Deep Stage. Did that one in Mexico. That should be coming out pretty quick.
You've been working a lot of international productions. That's pretty cool.
That's where it comes down to. You asked, how do I choose and pick? I took the India gig because, I loved the script. I loved the character. I knew the director and never been to India. So this was in Kochi, India. And it was beautiful. I remember going to work and we had to stop because there were fucking elephants crossing the road to get to the river. No joke.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So
we can check your IMDb. I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even look at it. I think Uppercut's another one coming out. Day Labor is another one that I think actually is out now on Amazon.
It's funny you were talking about what will help you decide if you're going to take a lower budget I did a movie up in the Arctic Circle. I think it was for the BBC and Canadian Broadcasting or something, but the money wasn't great. But I'd never been to the Arctic Circle, and I knew that the Aurora Borealis was going to be going on. So I said, sure, I'll do it. And 4 airplanes getting constantly smaller and smaller as I made my journey north, and dealing with the Canadian customs people. They're really not very nice.
Whoa, they are tough. I've got stories about those guys.
Yeah, it's crazy. I did a Super Bowl commercial, and I didn't think they were going to let me into the country.
They almost didn't let me in a couple of times. And who'd ever thought? Canadians, they're like the coolest, most fun beer drinking people.
Not their customs people.
Not their customs. Don't fuck with those guys.
That's right. But so, and you were talking about mountain lions. I thought that was funny because we had to, while we were shooting that film, we had to have off-duty Canadian mounted police and I thought, well, are they afraid we're going to get robbed or whatever? No, they were on grizzly bear watch. And they'd stop production, they'd yell out on a megaphone, and we all had to get together in a circle and, be in one place so they could watch out, and then they would scare the bears off. And it was like, wow, that thing that's only about 50 feet away can eat me if it wanted to. So,
did you get to see the Aurora Borealis? It's the Northern Lights, I believe.
Yeah, Northern Lights every night. It was amazing.
Growing up in Wisconsin, we saw them every summer, and it was always beautiful. And a lot of bears too. Actually, 4 or 5 years ago, I went home to visit and was going to my mom's little cabin on the lake, and like, the fucking cows that got out. There's a cow on the road, and I get up a little closer, and it was a big ass black bear.
Right. It's a dangerous job, but someone's got to do it, right? Well, that's about going to wrap it up for this episode. I didn't mean to keep Kevin. I told him it'd be a 40-minute interview, but once I start jabbering with people I like, it never goes that way. But
I'm living on a mountain top all by myself, so I don't get to be real social anymore. And really don't have a need to be busy with kids and. We can go as long as you'd like, because I really enjoy sitting here yakking with you and seeing you.
Yeah, I could do this all day, man. We'll have you back as we get into shooting more movies together, getting to work again together.
Good.
But before I let you go, how do people find out more about you? Is IMDb the best way to find out what you got going on, or do you do much social media, or what's going on?
I'm kind of under the radar guy. Yeah, I do not do social media. It's Gary Cairns.
Sure, yeah.
You know Gary.
Yeah.
He works a lot, and he's going to be working with us on Monkey Grip. You know who else is? Roberto Sanchez.
Yeah, Roberto's on
Yeah, I didn't realize. I got a very funny story, but I'm not going to tell it. I'll tell you later with Roberto and I and Gary. But anyway, Gary does, and I think Roberto and most young actors and the older ones, they're doing a lot of social media, and that's how they get their work.
Right.
I just can't do it to save my life. I just can't.
Right.
I just don't like it. I like my privacy, and a lot of armchair warriors are out there today in the social media world.
Yeah.
And
that's funny, as you mentioned Roberto, is that I've always wanted to work with the guy. Now that he's cast in this movie, now every time I turn on something on Netflix,
there's
he's in
Roberto.
He's
Yeah.
But he's another one of those. He and my buddy, I met him through my friend Oscar Torre, who is also in Monkey Grip. And Oscar, now I see him on everything. But those guys, the Latino actor world, those guys have a lot of the machismo that we're talking about. I love that. They've just got this Superman sort of vibe when they come on the screen, and I'm just drawn to that kind of the characters that those guys play. You know, not to say they can't play other types of characters, but that's what I like, and it's cool. But yeah, Roberto's a really good guy. I'm looking forward to working with him as well. But yeah, it's just kind of it's a weird thing, but I kind of just like surrounding myself with like-minded actors and filmmakers. And when you said we're storytellers, that really hit home to me. I just, you know.
It truly is the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's the oldest, well, I guess the second oldest profession in the world.
That's right.
I literally take everything to the bottom line. And I think we were talking in the restaurant there that, yeah, storyteller's been going on since caveman days.
That's what Clint Eastwood said, exactly that. He said, you know, for our first movies, we're on the caves of walls, and that's what it is. So,
and it's a privilege. I find it a privilege to make people think and or educate them. Or I get a lot of emails or fan letters to a website. Not so much anymore, but back in the day, a lot. I'd get flooded with them. But the things I have done in the films really moved some people in directions that they thought they'd never go.
Sure.
For instance, this one woman said thank you over and over, I don't know how many emails, for G.I. Jane. She had gone into the military.
Right.
And she got out, and I forget what she had become, but she's a very important person in her community. So yeah, it's nice to be a part of something that inspires others and or educate others.
Yeah.
And again, that's what we do. We're storytellers, and it's cool. I think we're valuable. Well, we are.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't tell those stories in caveman days, more people got ate up by the bears. Somebody has to tell you the story. Don't do that, man.
Yeah.
Do this.
Yep. Funny. I want to thank everyone for listening in and for spreading the word about the show, and you've been vital to increasing our listenership on a daily basis on every platform, and we at the Savage Podcasting Network truly appreciate it. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts, wherever you're listening at right now. So for Kevin Gage and myself, thank you for listening. And we will see you next time. Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome. Thank you, Steve. And goodbye, world. Keep smiling.
And there you go, my interview with Kevin Gage from 2024. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Stephen Savage Show. Just to let you know, we're going to be on hiatus until January, when we'll be back with a series of interviews with some of the filmmakers whose work has been selected to screen at Idlewild 2026. And that'll be happening March 3rd through the 8th this year. But in the meantime, for my producer, Nicole Hughes Bradshaw, executive producer Steve Tuma, engineer Maurice Sudo, and all of the Savage Podcasting team, as well as myself, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and a great New Year. And we will see you in 2026.